It's hard to know where to start, honestly. My name's Mike, and I've been married to Lisa for about 5 years now. We met in college, had a pretty good run for a while. She's a bossy, bitchy woman, always getting her way, quick to blame, but I loved her. Or at least I thought I did. We've been through ups and downs like everyone, but this past Thanksgiving, everything just fell apart. I always thought holidays were supposed to bring families together, but ours turned into a nightmare I'll never forget. Leading up to Thanksgiving, Lisa was acting weird. She was more irritable than usual, snapping at me over the smallest things, leaving her clothes around, forgetting the turkey in the oven, getting more tense every time I asked her how things were coming along. I chalked it up to holiday stress, honestly. She's been under a lot of pressure at work, and she's always been a little high-strung. Plus, she's the type who blames everything on stress, even when she's just being a bitch. I figured she was just overwhelmed, maybe trying to pull off too much at once. But then I started noticing little things, her phone ringing at odd hours, her being secretive about her messages, hiding her screen when I walked into the room. I'd catch her texting late at night and she'd quickly tuck her phone away, acting innocent but looking guilty as hell. She'd dismiss it with a sarcastic remark. "It's just work stuff, Mike, you're being paranoid." But I knew better. Something was going on. I didn't want to believe it, not at first, but I could feel something was off, and I kept coming back to that nagging suspicion. The real turning point came on Thanksgiving Day. We had a decent morning, the kids were excited, and Lisa was trying to keep her usual bitchy vibe in check. But in the afternoon, when everyone was watching football and the house was loud with chatter, I decided to check her phone. I'd been noticing her behaving strangely around her texts, and I thought, what the hell, maybe I'd find out something. I slipped my hand into her pocket when she wasn't looking and grabbed her phone. The screen lit up with notifications from someone named Jake. My stomach clenched. I'd heard the name before, her younger sister's boyfriend, Jake, who had been spending a lot of time around Lisa lately. I remember thinking how strange it was that they were so close now, texting late hours, sharing inappropriate photos since summer. Honestly, I dismissed it as harmless flirting at first. Everyone jokes about holiday stress, right? But this was different. The messages were explicit, and it was clear they'd been doing this for months. I stared at the screen, reading words I never thought I'd see between my wife and someone else. They weren't just exchanging flirty messages. They were talking about sex, about how good it feels, what they want to do next time, and even sending pictures. My heart pounded. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. I clutched her phone, feeling like I'd been hit with 1,000 knives. How could she do this? Especially with Jake, her sister's boyfriend. During Thanksgiving of all days, I couldn't believe the audacity. I knew I had to confront her. I wanted answers, and I knew I couldn't pretend I didn't see this. I waited until she went to the kitchen to get more drinks. I turned on my heel, holding her phone tight in my hand. I was angry but mostly crushed. I kept thinking about all the times she'd snapped at me, blaming her bad mood on stress, and here she was, sneaking around with Jake, my wife, the woman I loved, cheating right under my nose. It was like every moment I thought I knew her was a lie. I felt betrayed, humiliated, and furious all at once. I didn't know what I was going to say, but I knew the truth had to come out. I had to hear it from her face to face. The question was, how would she spin this? Would she even try? Or would she just lie her way out? That's when I realized nothing about this was going to be simple anymore. I took a deep breath and waited for her to come back into the room. When she did, I turned around slowly, holding her phone out in front of me. "Lisa," I said, trying to keep my voice steady, "who the hell is Jake? And why are you exchanging explicit pictures with him? Since summer?" Her eyes widened, and for a second she looked like she was about to brush it off. But then the anger in my voice must have caught her off guard because she froze. "Mike, it's not what you think," she started, trying to act innocent. "It's just some stupid holiday stress thing. It doesn't mean anything." She brushed her hair back, her face flushed with a mix of annoyance and guilt. "You always think the worst. Honestly, I don't even know why I bother explaining." I felt a fire rising inside me. I'd caught her dead to rights, and she was still trying to deny it. I wanted to scream at her, call her a liar, but instead I kept my voice cold. "It doesn't mean anything, really. Then why are you sharing intimate photos with him? Why the hell are you doing this behind my back, Lisa? She rolled her eyes and looked away, crossing her arms. Because I was stressed, okay? I didn't mean for it to get out of control. I was just feeling overwhelmed, and Jake, he's just a friend. It's no big deal. Her voice was a little higher, a little bitchier. Like she was getting defensive because she knew she was caught. You guys don't understand how stressful this holiday has been for me. I needed someone to talk to. It's not like I was cheating on you or anything. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Her words were such bullshit. I knew better. I knew she was lying, and I could see the truth behind her eyes. She was trying to twist it, make me think I was overreacting, but I wasn't stupid. I knew this wasn't stress. This was betrayal, plain and simple. She was cheating on me with Jake, her sister's boyfriend, and she didn't even have the decency to be honest about it. I felt my stomach turn as the reality sank in. I'd been living with a woman I thought I knew, and now I saw her for what she really was: a liar, a cheat, a manipulator. I stood there, stunned, trying to process everything. I didn't know what to say. Part of me wanted to yell, to break something, to make her hurt just as much as she'd hurt me. But I also felt an overwhelming sadness, like I was losing her even as she stood right in front of me. I looked at her, this bitchy woman I'd loved and trusted for years, and I realized I could pretend anymore. I couldn't keep pretending that everything was fine. I had to face the truth, no matter how much it tore me apart. I wanted to believe she'd deny it, or that maybe I was mistaken, but deep down I knew I'd caught her. And that meant everything was about to change. I just didn't know if I was ready for it yet. After that, everything shifted. The air in the room felt heavy, thick with unspoken lies and betrayal. I remember staring at her, feeling like I had been punched in the chest, trying to find what to say next. Part of me wanted to storm out, throw her out, scream at her, but another part, probably the weaker part, just wanted to know how she could do this, how she could lie so effortlessly. Lisa, of course, didn't back down. She started with her usual bullshit, trying to minimize, trying to justify. Mike, you're overreacting. It's just some stupid thing. I was stressed. I didn't mean for it to go this far. Her voice was honeyed, pretending to be innocent, but her eyes were darting around nervously. She kept insisting, "You're making a big deal out of nothing. It's not like I slept with him. It's just sexless, stupid, emotional nonsense. It's not like I love him or anything. It was just a stupid mistake caused by holiday stress, like I told you." I looked at her, disgusted. Her words were so calculated, so rehearsed. I could see the manipulator behind her eyes, trying to spin her way out of what she'd done. But the thing is, I wasn't buying it anymore. This wasn't just stress. This was real, raw betrayal. I could feel my stomach churning, my fists clenching. I was furious, but I also felt a cold, sinking sadness creeping in. How did it all come to this? I never thought she'd do something like this. I never thought my marriage was built on lies and secret sex with her sister's boyfriend. The worst part was the way she kept twisting the story, trying to make me feel guilty for catching her. "You've been so distant lately, Mike," she said, her voice rising with irritation. "Maybe if you paid more attention to me, I wouldn't have had to look for comfort elsewhere. It's your fault I was stressed, honestly. Maybe you should have been more supportive instead of accusing me of cheating every 5 minutes." That was her go-to card: blame me, make me feel like I was the one in the wrong for discovering her betrayal. I was beyond furious. I felt tears pricking my eyes, but I pushed them back. I was already emotionally drained, and I knew I had to get her to own up to what she'd done. "You're a liar," I said coldly. "You're lying right now, trying to make me feel guilty for finding out the truth. But I saw those messages. You sent him pictures. You told him you wanted to fuck him. How much more do I need to see before I know who you really are?" She scoffed, rolling her eyes. "Oh, please, Mike, you're overreacting. It's just sex. It doesn't mean anything. Jake's just a stupid kid. We've been talking for months, yeah, but it's not like I love him or anything. It's just holiday stress, remember? That's what you said. So maybe you should stop acting like I'm some kind of cheating whore. It's just a bad phase, and I'll get over it. You're making a mountain out of a molehill." I felt like I was going to explode. The words just kept echoing in my head. Holiday stress, bad phase, just sex. It was like she was trying to minimize everything to make it seem insignificant. But I knew better. I knew what I saw. And I knew she was lying. She was a bitchy woman, yes, but she was also a liar, a manipulator. I didn't want to be in this anymore. I was sick of her bullshit, sick of feeling like I was walking on eggshells while she played her stupid games. I needed to think to decide what to do. But right then all I knew was that I'd never trusted her again. Not fully, not after this. I was hurt, angry, and utterly betrayed. I didn't want to forgive her, not yet, maybe not ever. All I could do was stand there, struggling to breathe, feeling the weight of her lies crush me. I didn't know what the next step was, but I knew I couldn't stay in that house with her, not after what I'd seen. The silence between us stretched out for what felt like forever. Her eyes kept darting around, looking for some way out, some excuse to spin, but I was done listening. I'd seen enough. The trust I'd had in her was shattered, and I knew I couldn't just pretend it was some temporary holiday slip-up. She had been lying for months, probably since summer, and all those times she snapped at me for no reason, the late-night phone calls, the secretive texts, everything made sense now. I clenched my fists, trying to hold on to some shred of composure, but inside I was boiling. I couldn't believe I had married someone who would do this, especially with her sister's boyfriend of all people, Jake. That little punk was supposed to be like family, and Lisa, my wife, was screwing him behind my back, during Thanksgiving of all times, the most sacred holiday we have. It made me sick to my stomach. I looked her right in the eyes, and for the first time I saw her for what she truly was, a bitch who thought she could get away with anything. I wanted to tear her apart, scream at her, tell her how much she'd hurt me, but instead I just said, "You've been lying to me for months, all those late nights, all those secret texts, the pictures, you sent them to him, didn't you?" Her face twisted into a sneer. "So what if I did? It doesn't mean anything. It's just sex, Mike. It's not like I love him. I was just stressed and Jake made me feel good, that's all. You're making a big deal out of nothing." I couldn't hold back anymore. My voice cracked, full of rage and heartbreak. "It's not just sex, it's betrayal. You lied to me, manipulated me. You let me think we had something real while you were out fucking her boyfriend. How dare you blame stress? You're just a selfish bitch who wanted to have her fun and then lie her way out of it." She blinked, then her face contorted into a look of pure contempt. "You're overreacting. I don't owe you an explanation. I told you I was stressed. I told you I needed someone to talk to. You're just jealous because I found someone who actually listens to me. Jake makes me feel alive, Mike. Maybe you should try listening instead of accusing constantly." That made my blood boil. "You think I don't listen? You think I don't care? I do everything around here, work my ass off, try to make this family work, and this is what I get in return. You're a cheating, manipulative bitch. I hope you're happy because I'm not staying here with a liar anymore." Her eyes flashed with fury and she spat back. "Go ahead and leave then. See if I care. I don't need a man who can't handle a little stress. Maybe I'll find someone who actually appreciates me instead of putting me down all the time." That was the final straw. I realized I had to make a choice. I couldn't stay and pretend everything was okay. My world was crumbling around me and her words just confirmed that I was better off without her. But part of me was still holding on, hoping maybe I could fix this, maybe she'd come clean, admit everything, and we could work through it. Deep down, I knew that was wishful thinking. She was a manipulative bitch who thought she could walk all over me, and now I saw it clearly. So I made up my mind. I told her I was leaving, not just for the night, forever. I packed a bag, told her to pack her shit, and said I'd go stay with my brother. I didn't want to see her face anymore, not until she was willing to be honest about everything. As I was walking out the door, she yelled after me, calling me paranoid and accusing me of being insecure. But I didn't care anymore. I knew what I saw, and I knew I couldn't stay with a woman who lied at every turn. That night, I felt hollow. It was like my entire world had fallen apart in a matter of hours. I kept replaying everything, the texts, the pictures, her sneers, her lies. I felt betrayed, humiliated, and broken. I'd trusted her with everything, and she'd thrown it all away for some stupid, reckless affair with her sister's boyfriend. And now I had to figure out what to do next. The house was silent, except for the echo of her voice in my head, telling me I was overreacting, that it was all stress. But I knew better. I knew she was a liar, a cheat, and maybe the worst woman I'd ever met. The days that followed were blur. I stayed with my brother trying to process everything, but honestly I felt like I'd been gut-punched repeatedly. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face lying, her sneering, the explicit messages that proved she'd been cheating for months. It was like a bad scar that wouldn't heal. I kept wondering how I didn't see it sooner, how I missed all the signs, how I let myself get blindsided by her lies. I kept going over her words, her excuses, her false tears when I confronted her. Stress, she kept saying. It's just a mistake. But I knew better now. I knew she'd been lying from the start. I felt like a damn fool for trusting her, for thinking we had something real. All the years, all the memories, wiped out in a single moment of her betrayal. I also felt a strange mixture of relief and anger. Relief because I finally saw her for what she was, an unfaithful, manipulative woman who had no respect for me or our marriage. But anger, oh, that was the worst. At her, at Jake, at myself for ever letting it get this far. How could I have been so blind? How could I have loved someone who didn't care about me at all? One thing I did right was start sorting through everything, collecting evidence, reading those texts again, and making a mental note of every lie she told. I wanted to be sure I had all the facts before I made any final decisions. I knew I couldn't trust her anymore, but I also didn't want to jump to conclusions without being absolutely certain. That's when I decided I needed to talk to her again, face to face, and get her to tell me the truth once and for all. So I reached out to her, telling her I wanted to talk. She responded with a typical attitude, defensive, bitchy, trying to twist everything around. But I wasn't going to let her do that anymore. I told her I knew about Jake, about the photos, about the months of lying. I told her I wasn't interested in her excuses or her manipulations. I wanted her to be honest, no more bullshit. That's when she finally started to crack a little. She sat down, crossed her arms, and started spinning her version of the story. "Mike, I was just overwhelmed," she said, her voice dripping with false remorse. "You've been so distant, so cold. This was just a stupid mistake. I swear I didn't mean for it to go this far. I was stressed and Jake was there and I don't know. It was a moment of weakness. It's not like I love him or anything. I don't want to hurt you. I don't know what I was thinking." I looked at her, trying to stay calm. Inside, I was furious, but I wanted to hear her out. "A moment of weakness," I repeated. "You sent him explicit photos since summer, Lisa. You told him you wanted to fuck him. That doesn't sound like a moment of weakness. That sounds like months of betrayal. Do you even realize how much you've hurt me? How much I loved you and thought we had something real?" She looked away, trembling slightly. "I didn't want to hurt you," she muttered. "I was just stressed and I didn't know how to deal with everything. Jake made me feel alive. I didn't mean to break everything we had." That was the moment I realized this would never be just an apology or a quick fix. Her excuses, her tears, they were just words. Nothing could undo the damage she'd already done. I felt my chest tighten and my eyes burn. I wanted to scream, to yell, to tell her what I really thought, but I kept my voice steady, cold, and clear. "You can't fix this, Lisa. You lied, cheated, manipulated me for months. I don't think I can ever trust you again. I don't know if I want to stay married to someone like you." Her face was a mask of contempt and frustration. "You're just overreacting," she snapped. "You're insecure, Mike. If you just listen and stop accusing me, maybe we could work this out. But you're so insecure, so paranoid. You're the one who started pushing me away, not me." That was the breaking point for me. I realized I couldn't stay in this mess anymore. I had to decide whether to fight for the marriage or walk away for good. I looked at her, the woman I once loved, now a stranger full of lies. I felt a strange calm settle over me. I knew what I had to do. I could let her manipulate me anymore. I had to take control of my life, even if it meant losing everything I thought was real. The decision was made. I told her I was done. I was done with her lies, her manipulations, her betrayal. I was going to leave, file for divorce, and start rebuilding myself from scratch. I wanted her out of my life, out of my mind forever. I packed a bag, got in my car, and drove away, leaving her standing there, furious and unrepentant. As I drove off, I felt a strange sense of relief, mixed with heartbreak. It was over, completely, undeniably over. In the days that followed, I found myself in a confusing state, angry, hurt, and strangely relieved all at once. The house she had once called home was now empty, echoing with memories of a life I thought we shared. I couldn't help but replay everything in my mind. the signs I missed, her lies, her manipulations, and wonder how I'd been so blind. It hurt, sure, but beneath all that pain was a clear sense of clarity. I finally saw her for what she truly was, a bitchy, selfish woman who had no problem throwing our marriage away for some fleeting thrill with her sister's boyfriend. I won't lie, it's been a brutal few weeks. The betrayal cuts deep, and trusting anyone again feels like an uphill battle. But I've also learned something important. I deserve better. I deserve someone who respects me, who values honesty, and who doesn't cheat and lie just because she's overwhelmed or stressed. This experience has made me realize that no matter how much you love someone, if they're willing to betray you like that, there's no fixing it, not really. The damage is too raw, the wounds too deep. I've started working on myself. Took some time to regroup, to reconnect with friends, to focus on my job and my kids. I still think about Lisa sometimes, the woman I thought I knew, but I don't let it consume me anymore. I've come to accept that the best thing I can do now is move forward, learn from this, and never let myself be blindsided again. I won't be that naive guy who trusted blindly or thought love could fix everything. Sometimes, love isn't enough, especially when one person is determined to destroy what you have. Looking back, I can see how her lies escalated, how her manipulations grew, and how my own blind loyalty kept me from seeing her true face. But I also see that I have the strength to pick myself up. That's what matters most. I may have lost a wife, but I'm gaining a clearer understanding of who I am and what I deserve. I know I'll heal, eventually. Time and space are helping me put this all behind me. If there's one thing I want anyone reading this to take away, it's this: trust your instincts. Don't ignore the red flags, even if it's uncomfortable. When someone shows you who they really are, believe them. Don't make excuses or blame yourself for their choices, because in the end, the only thing that matters is your own well-being. You can't control what others do, but you can control how you respond. And I chose to walk away from her, from the lies, from the betrayal, and from the nightmare she dragged me into. So here I am, still standing, still healing, and finally free.